The next thing we're going to do after creating manifests and having the drivers go and pick up the property is receive the property into inventory. So we're going to come over here to our inventory menu and we're going to select on receiving. Now this receiving process you can do with the scanner device as well, but I'm going to show you how it's done here, because this is an option. You can do it right here as well. So when we select the particular manifest, we see all the items on the manifest, and we can go ahead and confirm the quantity that has been received. And let's say that backpack is really in bad condition and we really don't care about it too much. We can recycle it, or we can trash it. We can decide whether we want to put it in recycle or trash. And so we don't need to worry about a price or anything for that. But let's say that we get these 3 desks, for example, and we want to, they're 3 very distinctive desks, and we want to split them up into separate inventory records. So we can click on this little split. Because there's a group of a greater than 1, we get this special little icon here. So now we can, and I'll just split them actually into 3 separate ones, but you can do any kind of quantity grouping that you want. And so those have now been split into 3 separate desks, which will get, each will get their own inventory number. And now in this one, for example, on the keyboards, we may have a box where we throw all the keyboards. And all the keyboards are sold for $1, for example. And so we're not going to bother tracking all of the keyboards individually. We're going to put them into a group. So here we can select a group. And here we can choose the group. And you can create your own groups with your own group inventory numbers that would be unique to you. And we'll go ahead and we'll add these guys to the keyboard group. So they, even though they actually do get an individual record, so they can be sold on a first in, first out basis, we put them in the group, and so the group has a quantity that shows the total that are available. The other thing we can do for the recycle one, for example, we might want to put it in a special location where all the recycle stuff is going to go. So maybe there's a recycle bin 27, for example, and so that will just let us know everything that's in that particular location, and we can look up by location when we're ready to create a list of all the stuff for recycle. Final thing that we can do here, actually there's a couple of other things. So let's say on one of the desks we had to do a little repair. Actually, the desk probably wouldn't do it here. We would do it, on an individual item basis. But what we can do, essentially, is we can add an expense. And you can create your own expenses. So there's nothing here that's relevant. So we can say maybe just type in repair. But you can make your own list of these with your own sort of standard amounts for each of the things. And the reason I'm showing you this is mostly that that repair cost is recovered by you when you sell the property. You recover your costs for the repair or any other assignments of cost to any item, plus your commission, so that you're recovering that expense that you've made. The final thing that we can do here is, if you've picked up something that wasn't on the original manifest, you can actually go ahead and add it right here. And the advice, of course, is that you would, let's go ahead and we'll say they sent us a container of books. The advice here is that you would make sure that the pickup folks have the department sign for the fact. So they write it on the manifest and sign for the fact that they've been picked up, because that also becomes part of your audit trail, remember. And if you need to know which fields to fill out, you can click on the save icon here, and all the required fields will show in red, so you can fill out that very quickly. And of course, one would hope that you have this information on the manifest coming back from the driver. So when we click on here to save, then you'll see they've been added to the list here, and we can go ahead and save them and give them a price of $3 each and so on. And we can do other pricing here. So the keyboards, obviously, maybe they're all going for $2 for that group, and maybe the desks, maybe they're all going to be $15 each or something. So those prices actually can become the minimum bid if you are using the online auctions that are built in, and you can change those prices at any point using inventory details, but you can also change them if you're creating auction lots. So the final step then is to say that we've completed this. So we click on the completed button, And this is the point at which it actually gets placed into inventory. So we're going to click on OK. And now we can come over here and we can see the labels and see what we've done with the labels. So we've got the backpack is going to recycle. So there's no point in printing a label out for that. So we can remove that one. It does get an inventory number because everything does sequentially, because you've got to have a track of everything that you've received into inventory. There's the desks that we split up, the 3 separate desks. I'm looking at condition code. This column here, quantity. There's the 3 desks that have been split up, and there's the keyboard that's gone into the keyboard group, and then the books, the container of books. So if we go ahead and we print these labels with prices, I'll just use the Avery for example, but you can use the barcode printer to print on a strip. You'll see that these correspond to what we have here. So we've got a dozen of the books down here. We've got the 3 desks. Actually, these are the keyboards, I guess. So that even though they get separate, actually, you know what? We don't even need those inventory labels, so we can do this again without the keyboards, because you're probably going to have the first of those labels on the box where you keep those. But there's the 3 desks right there, and of course we didn't see the recycle one. So if we didn't need the keyboard labels, the 6 keyboard labels, we can just uncheck that, and then when we go to print the labels, of course the keyboards won't be there. You just see the desks, and then you'll see the container of books. So the other thing that you can do here is if we go back to received items here, if you get a self-delivery, remember that department may come down with their own list of items that they've printed out, that they filled in on their disposal request form. You can click here on self-delivery, and you can look up the department. And I believe this is the one. We've got one. So there's only one item here, but that was the disposal request number. And we can go ahead and receive this one just as we would as normal. And it's a plotter. And so let's say it's going to go for $100. And again, you can put your pricing in at any point in the future. And then we say that we've received those. So it's the same process. And then you can go and when you look up that particular manifest, and let's go find it. That wasn't the one, but there's only one item. I guess it's one of these anyway, but you'll see, you get the picture. It may have been, actually it wasn't Department of Accounting, it was Department of Biochemistry. There it is. And so then you can go ahead and print out that particular label the same way that you've done before. So once you've got stuff into inventory, of course, you can manage it in your inventory details. And when you do a search for inventory, I'm just searching everything, the most recent items show up at the top. And if you needed to adjust any prices, for example, maybe this desk, you wanted to change the price here, you can drill down to the detail, click on the edit. Here's where you can add more information on the description and so on. And you could go ahead and change this price. Maybe this is a much nicer desk, so we're going to sell it for $25. And you can change anything else here, of course, as well, and do your expenses and such. And you can upload images here, but you can also upload batches of images, which you'll see in another demonstration. When you upload the batches of images, it'll assign them automatically to the items that you've scanned. So that's how you'll receive your items into inventory.